This is my last. Wait, no, this is 9th attempt. Yeah, I forgot. Wait, no, this is 10th attempt. This is 10th attempt. So I got one more after. One more. I'm done if this is not it. I'm done if this is not it. One more. One more, bro. One more. Come on.
Wait, I already
Please.
have to be right back.
Come on. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Starting countdown.
Come on. Please, please, please. Please. Oh, please be the run. Please be the run. Please. Please, please, bro. Please. Just be the run. Be the run. I hope this is the run, dude. Because I'm actually starting to get sad. It's not the run, guys. Bye.
Well, you'll find out. But as a disclaimer, I am not promoting any of these services or gambling in general. In fact, later on in the video, I tell you about my depressing gambling experiences. Now, if you haven't been blasted constantly by gambling ads, you might not know what Stake is. It's a gambling website. And when I searched for Stake on YouTube, why gamble with strategy when you can just predict what's going to happen when you gamble? So I decided to look at this, and my good golly, there are 500,000 results of people talking about predicting Stake Casino. And this made me think, maybe instead of doing a normal job like everyone else and working for my money, I could win big by predicting the casino. So anyways, in my search, I stumbled across this video here. Best stake strategy with $1 with a 97% predictor. With 97% accuracy, this could predict if I would lose my house in a gambling binge. The thing that caught me off guard is that most of the time in the comments, I usually expect people to call this a scam, because if your brain already hasn't come to the conclusion that this is a scam, then, well, at least you'll learn by watching this video. But when I look through the comments, there's stuff like, damn, what a predictor it is. You are the bestest person I have congratulations. Please continue in making people rich. You are good, man. This is our best predictor. My God, bless you and your family and your work. Doing the best work. Such creative videos. I think I've watched it 4 times. I felt like I just walked in on a cult meeting and everyone's being overly positive, and it turns out that these are not all bot comments. I know, quite a surprise. We're on YouTube and bot comments. It turns out the reason why there's so many comments like this is that the most positive comment will get 1 premium bot from me. But either this is a lot of bots or a lot of people desperate to make money. And it turns out this desperation is not just on YouTube. In fact, there are stake predictors on TikTok. You know, the social media app that is mainly for teenagers. I love promoting gambling to teenagers. That's my favorite pastime. But I stumbled across this video here that actually led to somewhere, which at this point is a big accomplishment. But this is Stake Mind Predictor Bot 2024. And the way that this video on this garbage music, this guy goes on stake, and he needs to avoid 3 mines. He's copying some random value, copying some seed hash. He places in his gamble. He uses a Discord bot to enter in his seed and the number of mines in his gambling thing. The bot spits out a prediction. You can see that if he clicks on these 3 spots, he will be good. Any other spots, we don't know. And accuracy of this prediction is 97%. So let's watch him gamble. Oh, we got 1. He got 2, and he got 3, ladies and gentlemen. Just his bet of $0. This guy's making a video and he can't even put his own money into him gambling. But we can see by this guy's YouTube profile, this is Mars Predictor. That is 97% accurate. And ladies and gentlemen, no text-to-speech, on my alt account, Brad Armstrong, who is both wanted by North Korea and is now a degenerate gambler, found the Mars Predictor Discord server. And let's dive right in, ladies and gentlemen. So when I first joined the server, I saw a whole bunch of tickets of people trying to buy this predictor, which is already making me lose my will to live because I'm calling this a scam from the get-go. But the first thing I need to do is I need to verify on this Discord server, because what happens is that this helps the guy who's making the predictor re-add me to the Discord server if the server gets terminated. Now I wonder why Discord would terminate this server. I mean, could it be someone reporting it constantly to Discord? Be a shame if that happened. Now, if you're a longtime viewer, you might know what is going on here, but if I scroll down and I verify on the server, this bot is going to ask to join servers for me. And if this Discord server gets terminated for fraud, because it's a scam, then they can just make a new server and use this bot to make me join
What the
new
freak?
server. It's as if the server didn't
Yo,
get
you
banned.
good?
On this Discord server, I now have access to all of these Discord channels, except the reviews channel because it's locked. Now, why worry about the reviews when I have hundreds of thousands of dollars I can scam from the casino right at my fingertips? All I need to do is visit the plans channel. And I don't know what it is. But they're selling 3 different versions of predictors. They have a 100% accurate version, a 97% accurate version, and a 70% accurate version. Why would you sell 3 versions? It's potentially because you're making shit up and this is complete bogus. Actually, no, I can't be skeptical. I have to really dig into this. If you're someone that just wants to win 100% of the time at the casino, you could spend $350 a month. You know what, guys? Chump change. If you're stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the casino, this is nothing. And if you want to save a little bit of money and plan on using it for more than 2 months, you can get the lifetime license for $700. If you spend money on this, you need to reconsider your life choices and use your frontal lobe for once. But if you don't have $350 on hand because you lost it all gambling, then you can go for the 97% accurate version, which is $130 a month or $240 lifetime. And if you genuinely lost everything, the house, the wife, the kids from gambling, then you can get the 75% accurate version for $50 a month. Now, years of experience dealing with morons on Discord and Roblox, I know exactly what these guys are going to say.
But no text-to-speech. How can you tell that this is a scam when you haven't even tried it yourself?
Well, newsflash, I'm not a fucking idiot, because I'm going to dig into the lore behind gambling. That's a sentence. But also I'm going to talk about gambling predictors and how they're actually impossible. I'm going to dive into the more nerdy details later, but let's just start really simple.
Yeah.
The whole point of
Oh,
the business
bro.
of casinos is to make
Brain
money. In
took
fact,
more
last year they made $66.5 billion. You would think that people make $66 billion dollars a year would continue to make sure they make more money by patching any sort of exploit or weirdness or predictor. However, let's have a hypothetical situation. Let's say there was some sort of exploit. You managed to hack into Stake or any online gambling casino. Would you make millions of dollars by using this exploit and never tell anyone? Or would you make stupid YouTube videos dealing with idiots in the comments so that you could sell your gambling predictor for $700? Like, fundamentally speaking, this does not make any sense. If you could reliably predict the future and go to the casino, you would make millions of dollars at the casino instead of wasting your time on a stupid f***ing Discord server. And I think my favorite part about these predictors is that every single one is just equally as dumb. For example, there's this The Luck predictor. They have a blacklist channel, and they're banning people for selling a fake predictor. All gambling predictors are fake. This is the most ironic thing I've seen on Discord so far. And it happened on 9/11 too. Sir, they banned the second fake predictor seller. We have this server called Mr's Predictors. And Mr. V is a showcase of how the predictor works. We need to go full CSI Miami skills here in this video. Notice when he's gambling, he's blurring out what he's doing because... I'll be honest, this killed me when I first saw it. He's blurring it out because if you go to Mines Gambling, you can select how many mines show up on these 25 squares. I need to go a little out of grandma mode. Maybe one more tip. There we go. You see, there's 25 squares. What this dude did is he just picked the option for 1 mine, and then he started gambling. So what this means is that only one of these squares has a mine in it. So there's a pretty good chance that I'm not going to click on it. Let's see what a professional predictor does. He bets, he copies some random number that genuinely does not do anything, runs it in a Discord bot. Predict what's going to happen. The bot says, oh, if you click on these 5 squares, you will win money. And pressing anything other than the possible gems is totally on your own risk. We are not responsible for your risk. And my goodness, folks, you wouldn't believe it. But when he clicks on these 3 and clicks on these 2, he can click on, that will make
Did
him
you
lose.
hear that,
The best
y'all?
part about this video is once you're done gambling and you click,
Oh
win
my
or cash
God.
out, whatever the button is, is it'll show
That
you where
was
the
so
mine
loud.
is.
That's
You wanna know how this
Storm. I don't know
video
if y'all
ends?
heard that.
He doesn't even show you. Wow, guys!
Oh
He's
my
predicting
god.
the future. So far, I'm pretty sure most people.
What is this?
And you might be asking, who is even falling for this shit? Well, there's three types of people. The first type of people that actually fall for this are just straight up degenerate gamblers. People with a crippling gambling addiction will like to use these. When you go to a casino, or you just look at casino videos, there's old people who are tapping on the slot machine to try and slow down the slots. There's a dude who's scraping the slot machine to slow down the wheels to get a jackpot. All of this does absolutely nothing. Like, all this stuff is superstition. And the thing with these gambling predictors is that they also don't do anything, but people use them because they think it gives them an advantage. All it's doing is just reinforcing their gambling addiction. But our second group of people that will use these gambling predictors are unfortunately really desperate and probably people who are in really dire financial straits, aka really poor people. Because I was looking on TikTok for more gambling predictors, and in the comments there's 1,544 comments, and there are people saying, I need this, name of the app, I need this poor woman here, how do I get aviator prediction? You'll notice, wow, look at all these people that are willing to help this person. Truck for WhatsApp me, available from Playboy with money. So the sad thing is that we have people who are desperate for money, and we have people just available to take advantage of them. But the third group of people that fall for these gambling predictors are probably the saddest. It's kids. But that probably doesn't make sense, because if you go on stake, you must be 18 or the age of majority to gamble by any laws to actually register for stake. So how are kids gambling and falling for these predictors? Well, prepare to lose your faith in humanity, folks. Because welcome to this gambling website called Bloxflip. This is not a promotion. I fucking hate this website with every ounce of my soul. But man, it sure does look like stake. It has crash, cases, dice, mines. And the special little thing about this casino is that you don't spend your money on it. If you look in the history, you spend your Robux on it. This is a website that uses currency, Robux, in Roblox, which is a kid's game, to gamble. And to be honest, the thing that concerns me the most is that I wonder how many of these people are kids that and the people that are benefiting the most are the people that run the gambling websites, because the whole point of owning a casino is to make money. Anyways, a little bit of a rant over. We'll get a couple more later on. But when I was on YouTube looking for, I think at this point I already have what I'm looking for. I got the Diddy Freak Off Party explained and some dude gambling to make money on YouTube. But when I went on YouTube and searched for Bloxflip, the first thing is a Bloxflip predictor. And ladies and gentlemen, there are just videos upon videos of Bloxflip predictors. Because if you can't scam normal degenerate gamblers, why don't you scam underage kids that are gambling? Now, fortunately for me, I didn't have to do a whole lot of work. Bloxflip predictors so that I don't have to. But finally, some boots on the ground journalism. Except when I watched this video, it turned out this dude definitely drank the Kool-Aid, and he thinks these predictors work. He's just getting paid to promote this garbage, which I think is definitely the case. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do think this guy is probably getting paid to promote this. Saying that this shit is just randomized. And Mr. BXNTO said, I have a kid to say Bloxflip has no house edge. Oh, bro can't go band for band with me, Lamau. Peak bozo on What the fuck does this mean? On B? Out of nowhere boner? No, that doesn't make sense. On baby, okay. Please don't speak to me. You whore. Ban for ban. Whenever you see B for B, it means two things. The person that's sending it has a very low IQ, and the second thing they mean is that they're telling you to show off your money that you have in cash. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I joined the Evil Predictor Discord server. But fortunately in this server they have a vouching channel where you get to vouch whether or not you won, and we could see this guy. You can see this guy is living lavish, because after using this predictor, with a bet of 8 Robux, he won 97 Robux, but still does not have enough money to clean his fucking laptop. But even statistically speaking, if there are 5 mines that are located on this board, selecting 5 things, you have a pretty high chance of winning anyways. So this predictor, again, is just kind of like a placebo. However, I don't even need to say that or like make you try to believe me, because someone sent a screenshot of the predictor saying you should select these slots, which are highlighted in this blue rectangle. When he selected the slot with the bomb in it, well, it happens to the best of us. Now, these guys actually have an excuse on why the predictor will fail, and we'll get to it later on. But I want to point out with this predictor, we have algorithms, machine learning, AI. Look at all these different options you can pick to win big in gambling. In fact, there was an announcement that they're making new algorithms for Crash, new rule-based systems, mathematical function, AI, and machine learning. I don't know what it is, but with a lot of these gambling predictors, they love throwing in the word machine learning and AI. There are like Reddit posts about it, but people think that you could use machine learning to hack the casino and get a better chance at winning. With machine learning, you can't predict the future, especially if the future is random. You can't predict a random outcome. And when it comes to gambling websites, there are two types of random. There's HRNG or TRNG, which refers to hardware random number generator or true random number generator, and then there is PRNG, which means pseudo random number generator. Now, what these stupid what these uninformed people using these gambling predictors might be thinking is that if these websites are using a pseudo random number generator, there might be a way to crack it. Because here's the thing, the way that a pseudo random number generator works is that basically there's a seed, and using that seed, it prints out a whole bunch of random numbers. But if you know the seed number and you understand the math, you can theoretically determine the outcome of any slot machine or whatever gambling game you're playing. Now, in practice, it's hardly achievable, but people are holding on to this. Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, if casinos were pseudo-random, casinos would no longer exist because everyone would be exploiting them and making gazillions of dollars. That's why there's true RNG, which is what casinos and actually Cloudflare uses to do a whole bunch of encryption, but what they use are physical devices that generate some sort of mechanical process. Whether it be measuring the minute changes in atmospheric pressure over time, air temperature, or the number of button presses over a given period made by the player, all this stuff gets calculated and turns into a truly random number which cannot be predicted. So it doesn't matter if you have a fucking supercomputer, 10 of them put together, multiplied by 500,000, even with the most amount of computer knowledge processing power possible, you cannot predict random. Now, you can listen to me, or you can look on Reddit and find posts where online slots from casinos online are not random. I noticed that when you win at one slot, you will win at others. And when you lose, from the moment you logged in, you will keep losing on all slots. It is like all games are connected to a central computer. Can someone confirm this? What did I just read? Now, like I said earlier on, I know how to predict what these guys are going to say. I know all their excuses in the book. But no text-to-speech. Some predictors aren't 100% right. In fact, for the evil predictor that I'm looking at, they have a bomb chance algorithm, which apparently gives you some sort of accuracy. So if the prediction doesn't work, like what we saw with that previous person, they can write it off as, no, it was just, a small chance of there being a bomb there. It's just part of the accuracy of the algorithm, which is complete bullshit, by the way. But they will use those percentage numbers to convince you that you will somehow gain an advantage at the casino. And a very common advantage at the casino that a lot of people know of is card counting. If you play blackjack with a perfect strategy, the house edge is less than 0.5%. A typical card counter at a casino with 6 decks will have an advantage of approximately 1% over the casino. With just a 1% advantage, casinos are going through, finding detection methods, using technology, and kicking people out using countermeasures, all this stuff for a 1% advantage. If there was a 70% advantage, the casinos would fucking assassinate you. And sure enough, ladies and gentlemen, none of these people are dead or banned from casinos because it just doesn't work. The casinos would only care about this crap. Through these paid predictors, the paid one you have to pay money for. I was scrolling through looking at the bot, and it's developed by this guy named Notris. And I looked through all of Notris's messages, and someone asked, how accurate is the predictor? And the guy who made the predictor bot said it's impossible to estimate any accuracy. This guy basically admitted that they're just making crap up. And we can check if that's the case by looking at the code behind these bots, but before we get to that, I think we just need to look at gambling overall, because I know a lot of my audience is young, and I'm going to teach you early on how shitty casinos are. Don't develop a gambling addiction. Here's the thing, there's something called the house edge. It doesn't matter what game you play at the casino, whether it be slots, blackjack, flirting with the bartender, all casino games that you play are designed to provide the house with a built-in edge. It doesn't matter what you're playing, your chances of losing are always higher than your chances of winning. For example, if you're playing American roulette, the house edge is 5.26%, which means that 5.26% of the money that's put on the table to gamble will go to the casino. So if $1 million is bet at the roulette table tables in a casino, the casino will profit more than $50,000. And the rest of that remaining money will go back to the bettors. And I mean, it's written here, folks. The casino isn't aiming to bankrupt a player in one sitting, which really happened to me though. The goal is to give the player hope, keep them coming back, and over the long run, gradually empty their pockets. Now, I want to point out that sometimes you can get lucky. I have a friend of mine who went to a casino once, he put in 20 bucks on 100. You might be ahead in the short term, however, over the long haul, the house will gradually wear down your profits until you start losing money. That's why casinos will do everything they can to keep you playing for longer. So, if you go to a casino, you will notice there's no clocks. There's no windows. In fact, if you go to Vegas, most of it's like inside, so you just lose track of time so that you gamble for longer. And if you're at some more fancy casino or you spent thousands of dollars already, you might notice that you might be offered free drinks by the management. And we're talking like alcohol drinks. They're not just giving you like a free sody pop. When you drink alcohol, you make crap decisions. And if you make crap decisions, that's perfect for the casino because you'll just gamble all your money away. Now, this is where I get into my little ranty part here. You might be asking, why do people gamble if the house always wins? And they say people gamble for fun, and it's because there's a possibility of you winning some money. Except I highly recommend you do this. Go to the casino with no money at all and just watch people at the casino. I know I said it before where people do some like weird superstitious things. The people that are doing that, if you look at how much they're betting and how much money they have, they're spending thousands of dollars. And if you somehow manage to get some of the casino staff talking a little bit, they call them VIPs, but it's people who lost the most amount of money at the casino. So that's already depressing. People gambling away. There are a lot of old people, because what else do you do? When you're old and you have a whole bunch of money and your kids hate you, you either go on a cruise and die on the cruise, which a lot of old people do. That's my way to go. Or you can go to the casino and gamble away all your money, because at the end of the day, if you have $0, it doesn't matter. You're dying in 2 weeks. Long story short, casinos are extremely depressing. And hopefully, if you recognize that, you won't develop a gambling addiction. And right now, it'd be a really good idea to never go on a gambling website because you can't see the people that are gambling, that are, losing absolutely everything. You know what? Yeah, whether it be openly available on the internet, just on GitHub, or if you actually get behind one of these bots, if you look through their code, it's beautiful. So we have a Python script here of a Discord bot that will automatically predict the Mines game for you. Now, they have a prediction algorithm, and I'm going to go through it real quick, and it's going to be tough to understand. But what the algorithm does is it just randomly generates a number between 0 and 24, which refers to the grid on that Mines field. It will generate a random number. And on the number that it picks between 0 and 24, it will just add a star, saying that it's safe. Just to make it all real simple for you guys. The crazy predictor algorithm is them just generating a random number. This is equivalent to going on Google, doing a coin flip, and if it's tails, I go all in on black, if it's heads, I go all in on red. No matter what you're gonna lose your money. Oh yeah, and remember that chance, that accuracy number? Well, the algorithm for the accuracy number is pick a random number between 45 and 95. Again, random number generator. Now, there's a pretty good chance that any of the Discord servers I've looked at are just using this bot, but I think they should switch to this new algorithm, the blocks flip crash predictor. Now, this actually has some logic to it. What this code will do is it will actually go into blocks flips API, and it will look at the history of the last 10 previous games, and it'll figure out the crash point. Basically, what number did the game crash? So this is where we get into math. That's not even math. This person creates an array of the last 5 games, and they call it the past games. Apparently, they can't count either. But basically, what it will do is it will get the last 5 games, and it will average the multiplier. So it will add all these together and divide it by 5. That is known as the average. Then it will also get the standard deviation of these past 5 games. If you haven't taken a stats class, you might be like, oh, this might be some fancy and complicated math. Well, don't you worry, it gets even more advanced. Because what they do is they get the average of the average. This is just a number. The average of one number is just the number. So this line does nothing. They get the standard deviation of the standard deviation, which is just one number. So again, this does absolutely nothing. The algorithm gets even more crazy. For the prediction, we're going to do 2 divided by the average minus the standard deviation divided by 2. Now, if you do any sort of basic simplifying of this, these 2's cancel out, so there's no point of even putting them in the equation. This guy has not passed basic math courses whatsoever, but this is where the magic science comes in. He adds 1 to the prediction. Why? Fuck you. But how do we determine how risky this prediction is? Will you actually win money? Well, risky equals to 4. Where did the 4 come from? Average minus standard deviation divided by 7. Where did the 7 come from? Exactly where the 4 came from. And where did the 4 come from? And then risk equals Whiskey plus prediction. What is even going on?
Oh my God, I
Ladies and
am
gentlemen, that is the
done
number
with
that is
this
going to win
game.
you buckets
I
of money.
am
You just have to
done
take
with
the average
this
of one
game.
number and the
I
standard
swear
deviation
if it's
of
right
the
here,
this should
don't
make
tell me
me
I
even
could have
more
won,
stupid the
right?
longer I look
Wait,
at
don't
it. So
tell
you know
me,
what?
right?
I think it's probably time to cut.
No! Oh,
Why
I
would you waste
am
your time
so
selling a predictor when
mad.
you could just make gazillions of dollars if it actually worked?
Oh,
These
okay,
people,
wait, never
straight
mind,
up,
I
are
would've
just
been
con
able to.
artists. Anyways, gamers, hopefully that was
Never mind.
interesting,
I'm
insightful,
done.
and stop. On Reddit, ride it out, baby. Bye-bye, I love you.
Oh!
Despite me
Ow.
being hungover, I'm actually the happiest
wanna
basement-dwelling
scrape my
loser on the
knee.
planet right now because Discord
Oh.
is finally getting
That
rid
hurt, that
of the
hurt.
gaming
Oh, I just
feature
scraped it
now.
against
Just
my bed
these
frame.
4 simple letters that spell out something I love in my mouth right now. These 4 letters
Ow,
$100,000
my
plus
window.
Discord black market because there were idiots that would actually spend money just to have the 4 letters next to it. But with this black market, it also caused thousands of people to be scammed. And now that Discord is getting rid of it, the stupid Discord e-gangsters who paid money to have this are in shambles. But just to make things even better, Discord is giving everyone some of the gaming guild features, which I'll show you at the end. But this is the rise, the beautiful fall of Discord gaming guilds. Now you'd think this would be some sort of documentary. No, I don't got the time for that right now. Again, hungover. Now, if you don't know what Discord gaming guilds are, you probably don't because Discord did a horrible job at explaining it to anyone, but you've seen it before, the 4 letters next to someone's name. Now, what you're supposed to do is click on it and be like, wow, these people are very competitive gamers. But this is the first feature of gaming guilds, but the second primary feature of gaming guilds is that when you try to you need to fill out an application, like what games you play, if you have money to spend on e-girls and Valorant, the typical gamer stuff. But the third primary feature of guilds is that you can only have a maximum of 200 members, which makes no f***ing sense at all. If you want your Discord server to only have 200 people, you could just turn off invites or kick people from the server. Now I'm saying all this stuff, but let's be honest here. No one cares about gaming guilds. The only thing people care about are these 4 letters next to your name. In fact, this person managed to take a screenshot. Gaming guild tag.
Oh, I'm getting so mad. I'm getting so
Anyways, this
mad.
person made a Reddit post asking, how do I get this? Everyone wanted this, and the important part about gaming guilds is the fact that this is an
This is
experimental
annoying,
feature,
dude.
which means
I swear.
Discord can get rid of it. And spoiler alert, that's what this whole video is about. But the next thing with the gaming guild and tags, they're all the same name, just the fact that it's only available to a select number of servers. So let's get to the whiteboard for a second. This Nicole person, nobody. Bup, though, on the other hand, has something next to their name. They're special. A special thing on Discord, limited to a select number of servers. And ladies and gentlemen, just like that, the Discord black market emerged. In fact, just the simple feature made Discord's worst black market. You see, there's a Discord black market for everything. In fact, people will spend money to get rare Discord usernames because they want to look cool. I'm gonna be honest, the people that buy this thing are the same people that get bullied at your school. People will also spend thousands of dollars for a Discord badge, so they'll buy someone's account just to get a Discord badge. Yes, those pixels right there, thousands of dollars. You'll buy a sick-ass gaming computer.
No,
for that
y'all
price,
can hear
but
that,
no,
right?
I want pixels on my Discord profile. And the final Discord black market involves Discord invite links. Like, for example, people will spend like hundreds of dollars so that when you type in discord.gg/feed, their server pops up. Now, there's one thing I want in my mouth right now, and it's not the feed that are showing this band. That rhymes with leech. Well, those were all Discord's normal black markets until these guild tags came out. In fact, there were Discord servers specifically made for these clan tags. How many people are in this server? I'm just going to show it on screen, and I don't even want to look at it because if I look at the number and I read off of it while I'm doing this voiceover recording, I'm probably just going to end the recording and go outside. I'm going to do you a solid and give you more brain rot so you can understand this better, but there's this person here who owns 58 Discord guild tags. No, we have this person here who said, holy shit, I feel like I just met 5 celebrities with fear replying to me. Yeah, if someone had 58 Discord servers, they were seen as a celebrity on Discord. Since people wanted these clan tags, these Discord servers would start doing giveaways for the privilege of having aura next to your name. And the worst part is that 10,000
Oh, I'm lagging
people
so bad
joined
when I
this
click a
giveaway.
door. It's like
10,000.
lagging really hard.
People want them so bad that to invite you into the Discord server, they will give you the clan tag. They will sell you access. This person's selling access to 20 people for $5 PayPal. And these people are my favorite because the emoji here is fed and their clan tag is also fed. These people are LARPing as the feds. I can imagine these guys get home from school. Their mom's like, oh, how was school today, honey? Mom, I got bullied again. I don't want to talk about it. And slam their door, go into their room. They open up Discord. You guys don't want to mess with the bad boy on Discord because I'm a fed. You know that fear person? Yes, I did get DM'd by a celebrity because I asked them, how much is it to join a guild? And it's 15 euros for a 1-month access and 50 euros for permanent access. I could pay this dude 50 euros so I can have whatever the this is in my name, a privilege. But here's the thing, right? When I go on Instagram, it's filled with Andrew Tate wannabes taking out a credit card loan and going to Dubai to rent a Lamborghini to pretend they're rich to the 1 or 2 girls that follow these people on Instagram. And for me, why hustle over 50 euros when instead, what if I sell the Discord server that has the plan? In fact, this server is so bad, so yeah, what if instead of selling access, I sold the Discord server? How much would that cost me? It's a lot worse than you think. I found this person here who was selling cool guild servers. Again,
I can't.
Definitely kids
I actually
that get
can't.
bullied.
Why?
This person is selling their Discord server with the
I
name
would've-
Rich, so it shows Rich next to your Discord
Really?
username, so you can
Really, bro?
flex to all the
I actually
e-kittens you
can't. I
talk
actually
to,
can't.
which are also just dudes pretending to be
I really
girls
can't.
to
No,
get
it's
money
not.
from you. For
This is gonna be
$1,000.
a long
I
time.
didn't stutter there. $1,000.
all
Now you and I, let's just talk on our podcast for a second, right? If someone's spending $1,000 on a Discord server, there better be a good reason why, right? Maybe they're the only people that can have the Rich name next to their name, because if you're first, you get to claim the name, right? That makes sense for $1,000. Well, according to Discord's FAQ,
I know it sounds like
are
it's
these
not a lot,
guild
but I've
tags
done way more
unique?
than 10.
No. And just to show you, there's a website that shows a whole
5
bunch
more
of these
runs or 10
Discord
runs, and
clans.
if I
These
don't
people
get
like
it,
submit their own to
I'm done.
advertise, and
I'll
there's
leave
8
time.
servers
So
with.
this is the first run.
So these people are spending $1,000 so they can put whatever 4 letters next to their name that they want. But here's the kicker, right? If you, like me, know the Discord Bible front to back, thou shalt not talk to e-girls and give them nitro. But in the Discord community
First try.
guidelines, they specifically say, do not sell or purchase Discord assets, including accounts, usernames, servers. Discord could, if they wanted to, ban this server and make this person completely lose their $1,000 offer. And considering this person right here is telling me they are selling access to the server, I could report this message, and this person should get banned, right? Well, here's the thing. However many months ago, I think like 7 months ago, I made a video talking about this new Discord black market when it was just slowly emerging. And I showed Discord that people were selling access to Discord servers. I actually pointed out this exact person. I've duped them twice. I've DM'd them twice. Yet Discord did absolutely nothing about it. And since Discord wasn't banning any of these Discord Andrew Tate goofs, the black market just got worse, and it became the most degenerate cesspool I've ever seen. It's actually beautiful because it's time for the black market degeneracy title card. And the subtitle is, I lose my will
Alright,
to
that's the
continue
second
after I
one.
read bat insane Discord messages. Well, one of my viewers got reached out by this person here, which I can barely
Hold
read
up,
their name
guys.
because fonts
My
look cool on
headphones is
Discord.
dead.
But one of my viewers got reached out because this person wanted to buy their RLG gaming guild. Now, since it's against the terms of service to sell one of these
I think
guilds,
y'all can
Barf
hear
had an idea. It's
Yep,
against
alright,
the terms of
turn it up.
service to sell,
Sorry, I'll
but
be able to
it's
hear
not
my game.
against the terms of service to trade.
Alright,
So
just
what if
put
I
it
was
back.
to trade you IPT? Then it's not sold to sell, and it's fun. Now, I've tried that same logic against the sale, and I had to spend $5,000. IPTV is global live TV channels, including pay-per-views and channels from all over the world. So this guy asked, theoretically, I could watch Family Guy on my TV without a Disney Minus subscription. Correct. So the business plan is don't break Discord's community guidelines by selling the server, but instead break the law by doing illegal IPTV piracy. Brilliant. Now, as the Discord black market got bigger and thicker, the kingpins of the Discord market started to expand their turf and their gang. The Discord black market got a LinkedIn upgrade, and they started having recruiters. Your job is to hunt for Discord gaming guilds. And once you find a potential guild, you need to send a direct message to the owner and offer them between $100 to $150 for their Discord gaming guild. But if you manage to find one of these Discord gaming guilds
Yes,
and make
finally.
one
I
of
think
those
this
Discord
is-
people have another guild so that they're more popular and internet
Can I really not do
or
this?
something. I think I'm too old for this shit.
There we go.
But if you
Finally.
find one of those gaming guilds, your reward is $10 for your effort. effort, do all the hard work for it, and receive $10. Now these guys are thinking like Jeff Bezos here. Thank goodness there's no union here, or else I could make some propaganda for it. And these people treated this like an actual job. Inactive guild hunters will be ejected out of the team. You can get fired from your Discord job, but if you're a you get the opportunity of a lifetime by having the opportunity of staying in their Discord gaming guilds.
I'm only
spots.
going
Except
up
here's
to
the
that
thing, you know these
5th
permanent
attempt.
spots?
So
That's a
please,
lot.
Jesus,
Because since Discord
just
wasn't banning any of these servers, all of them just started scamming a bunch of people. And I had to deal with it. This was my own internal for the last 6 months. And coming to you for help on shutting down a guild scam operation. Over the past few weeks, he has been selling guilds with paid members in them, scamming the members of their guild tag. I want the scammer to be stopped. He's scamming people that will spend money to join a Discord server. And this is also coming from someone that has the clan tag of staff. Yeah, these people are LARPing as Discord staff, and they're paying money for it. This Jason kid has no remorse in true scammer fashion. All I can do is try to infiltrate the guilds and report them to Discord. But
That was my
hasn't
4th
passed.
time.
In fact, this person got
This
banned
is the
for the
last
reason,
one.
don't try
Please
accusing like
to
a poor hole.
everybody.
I was dealing with the drama from the same idiots that would spend money on these clan tags, and it just keeps on
I
repeating
have
it
been
over and over
playing
again.
this
They're
for
talking about a person named
about
Jason.
2
Now, who gives a shit about
hours.
Jason?
I'm
He's just
about
another
to
loser
crash
who has
out.
Discord guilds. But he also has a girlfriend, so we have 2 losers in the equation. But the way that the scamming would
I know
work is that they would
you
sell that
heard
permanent
these,
access
but I
entry to
can't
people
get
for
my
$5
eye
each.
out.
And then big old Jason would sell those Discord
It's
servers
been
to
like
people
14
without telling
days
anyone
since
for
I've done
$1,000.
that.
$1,000 is pretty high, let me be honest. The things that I've seen is
Why
that
don't
people are
you
selling these
let me
servers
get
between
a
like
peep? I'm a
$450 to
baby.
$850. But what would happen is that he would sell the Discord guild, and then you would get kicked because the people that are buying the guild are like, I just spent $500 on a Discord server. I have plenty of regrets in my life. I kick everyone. So that permanent access that you paid for is not permanent. You got scammed. In fact, I hate to get emotional here, but one of my viewers got scammed, and he sent this really sad and depressing DM to someone. I bought a permanent spot in the Long Guild, and now I notice it's gone. Can I get a refund? Hello? I know people in guilds are scamming. I genuinely was told everything. I've had people snitching on the operation. This person here, ditching, their name should just be snitching. They're a lead manager inside of that server, and they've been for a while. There's a, and I quote, a ton of crap. The most descriptive thing. But we're on Discord. Wait, where are the predators? Now, for legal sake, I'm not wasting my time in confirming whether or not these people are predators. I'm just reading what these morons have sent me. Within the guild selling community recently, large accusations have come out against a former partner named Chloe. Along with this, there's been... The wrong bears just tripped me up. There's been countless evidence that these claims are true that have been posted. Chloe's side of the story is made up from edited screenshots that are trying to slander innocent people within the community. Scamming hundreds of dollars, potentially having
But I
illicit
did say
content
I
with minors on a
would
private
do
server.
10
It might
attempts
hold
earlier,
its
so
own
I
weight.
will
She's
do
also threatened to
5
post
more
anyone's
attempts
info
if these fail
People cannot
completely.
spell. Also, she uses the fact that her
Not
supposed
feel
ex-boyfriend
my
had access to
face.
In fact, she never had a boyfriend and used it as a cover-up. I hate myself. You know things are bad when there's a YouTube video exposing
I
Discord
swear
guild that's
this
gatekeeping predators
flops.
and the most heinous crime
This
of
flops.
gatekeeping
Please,
the
please,
gypsy
I'm
world
begging.
999. Absolutely.
Please, I swear, please, I'm begging, I'm
But
begging.
really, the
begging.
most important
Please,
thing,
I'm
getting
begging.
back on topic and giving you some actual
I'm
information, is that the
literally
problem
begging.
was so
Please.
bad. Scamming, predators, drama, all this garbage. I cut down 90% of it, by the way. But things got so bad that this person here got their account limited because they joined a Discord server that broke Discord's rules for Discord asset sales. So, believe it or not, Discord did ban a server. And this person is excited about being warned on Discord. They say it's a massive W that they got their account limited. That's how bad the problem was, that this
Oh my God, I
person is
can't.
excited that Discord punished their account. And when things were good, it just gets even better. Because Discord got the 25 kill streak and dropped a nuke on the entirety of the Discord black market. When I heard this news, I was actually happy for once. But Discord
Oh my
updated their
God,
guild's
I
FAQ
can't
page, and they
with
said the
this
guild's
game.
experiment will be ending in the
can't
coming
with
weeks and will no
feeding
longer
where
be
it's
available.
happening.
What Bob the Hacker did they pulled this magic link that they sent to me that I still don't understand, but it's the Google API's identity toolkit, rewind party, get project config, and they attached this key at the end. Now at this point, I'm borderline confused, but we now know that the Firebase project name is called Playroom-Production. I hate to be a little bit more of a nerd than Bob the Hacker, but you could actually see what the name was if you just looked at that login link. But with this Firebase name, Bob the Hacker thought, what if there was a way that I could access
Hold on, guys, sorry if you hear this.
What you can do is you can make API calls to Firestore, which allows you to access and get data from a database, but also write information to a database. But what they did is they copied this and then they attached it to the end of this, which is just kind of like Firebase's default structure in terms of a database. So you have your projects, you have the name of your project,
I don't know how, but look.
Playroom-Prod. Then there's databases, default, documents, and then in this
How do you
case
do
it
that?
has cities
How?
and LA. However, it would probably make sense if they followed a very simple structure that most Firebase projects use, where in their documents they have a users folder and it's filled with a whole bunch of users. And using that plus coding knowledge, which I don't have, they stumbled across and put together this big link here, where they're basically contacting and they're looking in their databases for users, but instead of trying to like find out everyone else's information, because who cares? Bob the Hacker thought, what if I could make my account become admin? I would have thought the exact same thing, to be honest. But what Bob the Hacker did is they went back to the same request that we looked at to get this Firebase key, and they just went to the response, and they looked under users, and there's something called the local ID, which is kind of like your username. And all they did is they just copied this big chunk of text, and they pasted that big number at the end, and they clicked on send. Now you'll notice, no text-to-speech thingy. And that's because it got patched. But don't worry, that's what screenshots are for, baby. You can see from the screenshot that Bob the Hacker sent a GET request to Google's API for Firestore, Playroom Production, and they had their user at the end, and it returned a whole bunch of information, specifically the fact that their role was a developer. Now, Bob the Hacker thunk, what if I just select this, and I change it to admin? And that is exactly what they did. They basically just made a patch request, they copied all this information, changed the role to be admin, and they clicked on the big send button. Bob the Hacker now has the role of admin. We have two things to look forward to. The first thing is that this is where everything went downhill for Death by AI and Playroom. And the second thing to look forward to is that the rest of this video isn't going to be as confusing as it just was. But this is how the Playroom developer portal looks like normally on a normal user account. You can only see your games, it says developer, and you can modify your game and stuff. But Bob the Hacker had something a little bit stranger. They actually had the it doesn't say developer, it says admin on the top left. And when you're just using your account, the only games that you can see are the games that you make using Playroom. But Bob the Hacker, when they went to see their games, they couldn't just see their own games, they could also see every other person's game, like CSS in the Dark, Red Brick Test Game, and even the hit game Among Us 2. Bob the Hacker could access it. But this also included the game Death by AI, and what Bob the Hacker could do is access a whole bunch of things. And what type of havoc can you cause? Well, we're going to start with the very simple stuff and then move up to completely blowing up the whole platform, it feels like. But what Bob the Hacker could do is they could change a whole bunch of the Discord bot credentials. So they could just completely reset the bot token and Death by AI would just not work. There's also some triggers, which we'll get to later. But not only could they disable Death by AI and just change all this stuff to break it, but they could also go to the game's hosting and what Bob the Hacker did, they pulled this magic link that they sent to me that I still don't understand, but it's the Google API's identity toolkit, rewind party, get project config, and they attached this key at the end. Now at this point, I'm borderline confused, but we now know that the Firebase project name is called Playroom-Production. I hate to be a little bit more of a nerd than Bob the Hacker, but you could actually see what the name was if you just looked at that login link. But with this Firebase name, Bob the Hacker thought, what if there was a way that I could access
Hold on, guys, sorry if you hear this.
What you can do is you can make API calls to Firestore, which allows you to access and get data from a database, but also write information to a database. But what they did is they copied this, and then they attached it to the end of this, which is just kind of like Firebase's default structure in terms of a database. So you have your projects, you have the name of your project,
I don't know how, but look.
Playroom-Prod. Then there's databases, default, documents, and then in this
How do you
case
do
it
that?
has cities
How?
and LA. However, it would probably make sense if they followed a very simple structure that most Firebase projects use, where in their documents they have a users
how?
folder and it's filled with a whole
How
bunch
did
of
I do
users.
that, bro?
And using that plus coding knowledge, which I don't have, they stumbled across and put together this big link
I don't
here,
know how they
where they're
do that,
basically
dude.
contacting and they're looking in their databases for users, but instead of trying to like find out everyone else's information, because who cares? Bob the Hacker thought, what if I could make my account become admin? I would have thought the exact same thing, to be honest. But what Bob the Hacker did is they went back to the same request that we looked at to get this Firebase key, and they just went to the response, and they looked under users, and there's something called the local ID, which is kind of like your username. And all they did is they just copied this big chunk of text, and they pasted that big number at the end, and they clicked on send. Now you'll notice, no text to speech thingy. And that's because it got patched. But don't worry, that's what screenshots are for, baby. But you can see from the screenshot that Bob the Hacker sent a GET request to Google's API for Firestore Playroom Production, and they had their user at the end, and it returned a whole bunch of information, specifically the fact that their role was a developer. Now, Bob the Hacker thunk, what if I just select this, and I change it to admin? And that is exactly what they did. They basically just made a patch request, they copied all this information, changed the role to be admin, and they clicked on the big send button. Bob the Hacker now has the role of admin. We have two things to look forward to. The first thing is that this is where everything went downhill for Death by AI and Playroom. And the second thing to look forward to is that the rest of this video isn't going to be as confusing as it just was. But this is how the Playroom developer portal looks like normally on a normal user account. You can only see your games, it says developer, and you can modify your game and stuff. But Bob the Hacker had something a little bit stranger. They actually had the it doesn't say developer, it says admin on the top left. And when you're just using a user account, the only games that you can see are the games that you make using Playroom.
Come on.
But Bob the Hacker, when they went to
There
see
you go,
their
finally.
games, they couldn't just see their own games, they could also see every other person's game, like CSS in the Dark, Red Brick Test Game, and even the hit game Among Us 2. Bob the Hacker could access it. But this also included the game Death by AI, and what Bob the Hacker could do is access a whole bunch of things. And what type of havoc can you cause? Well, we're going to start with the very simple stuff and then move up to completely blowing up the whole platform, it feels like. But what Bob the Hacker could do is they could change a whole bunch of the Discord bot credentials. So they could just completely reset the bot token and Death by AI would just not work. There's also some triggers, which we'll get to later. But not only could they disable Death by AI and just change all this stuff to break it, but they could also go to the game's hosting and they could change the Death by AI to be whatever game they decide to program and put on there. You can make it link you to a YouTube video, maybe a really bad video on a different website. However, there's a lot more of a pressing issue that any moron like myself could have used to do a lot of damage. Because remember looking back at this dashboard, what are these triggers talking about? Well, these are basically things that you can enable that will send messages to people when they first play Death by AI, and you can see that I can edit these messages and I can also turn it on and off. So I could enable this trigger and I could edit the message where Death by AI, the bot itself,
Oh, no,
will
this is
send
bad.
a
Yeah.
DM to people when you first
Oh, wait,
play
no,
the
it's
game.
not.
It'll say, hey, thank you
Then
for
I
playing
failed
Death
the
by
SSH
AI.
thing.
You can get free Death by AI Premium and $5 gazillion by visiting this obviously not a scam website. Using this, you could send people a big scam and it would be sent by the real Death by AI bot. And just in case you weren't aware, Death by AI can send you a direct message because when you authorize the bot when you first play this game, it'll show up in that little authorization pop-up that the bot can send a DM to you. But gamers, I kind of saved the best for last, because here's the thing, with these triggers right now, for any bad thing to happen, people need to actually play the game again. What if there was a way I could send a message to every single person that has ever played Death by AI? Man, that would suck. And it turns out in this screenshot, a little bit of a clue is sticking out at us. It's been in our face the whole time. It's the fact that the Chrome network tab is open. And if you look in the network tab, there's a request that you can open up where it tells you the description of the bot, it tells you what the bot's ID is, but you can see in the Discord fields, when you see the Discord client ID, you can see the client secret. In the screenshot, all this stuff this was the whole entire client secret. In fact, there's also the Discord bot token. The whole thing in plain text. And using this Discord bot token,
Oh
I
my
can fully
God.
control the Discord bot.
raining
Death
so
by AI.
hard
If
outside,
someone
dude.
was super evil, they could use this bot token to make the Discord bot be every single person that has played Death by AI that still has a bot token. And to make things even worse, by the way, remember all these games that Bob the Hacker had access to? Considering that they could see the client ID, secret, and bot token of every single one of those games if they had a Discord bot related to it, this could have been a pretty nasty disaster if Bob the Hacker was trying to do something evil. But when it comes to finding bugs like this, instead of causing a big havoc, Bob the Hacker decided to do the good thing, and they contacted the developers of Playroom about this issue so they at least had a chance to fix it. And ladies and gentlemen, the Playroom developers, the people behind Death by AI, did a damn good job, let me tell you. In less than 20 minutes, this whole admin exploit was fixed.
I'm not finished.
Bob the Hacker did a little bit of a Discord Avengers team up with good old XYZ Eva, which, if you watched a lot of my videos, you know XYZ Eva is the person that hacked into a whole bunch of Discord bots to find vulnerabilities, and I've covered it in a couple of videos. They found another Playroom. When you refresh the page, there's a request that gets made to dev.joinplayroom.com/API/game?user ID, and then it puts in the user ID. What if we replace my user ID with the user ID of the owner of the Death by AI bot? Again, this happened in like 3 minutes. They got the new Discord bot token. Anyways, fortunately for me, I didn't have to censor anything because if I tried doing this myself, message, game's not found. So they did fix this, but considering that they had this simple of a vulnerability, it makes me ask the question, I wonder what other Discord activities have gaping security holes like Death by AI, and specifically the backend that they used, Playroom. I just want to say a big thanks to Bob the Hacker, though, for finding this and being patient enough to explain it to a moron like me. By some modern-day miracle, I might have explained it in a way that is not confusing. I hope. Anyways, bye-bye, I love you. Mwah. Discord is filled to the brim with absolute creatures, but nothing beats the degenerate gamblers that join Discord servers for gambling predictors. Now, like me, you might be asking, what is a gambling predictor? These are tools that use algorithms, machine learning, and newborn sacrifices to predict whether or not you will win big money on online gambling websites. Do these